There we go. We're away. We're streaming. Hi, I'm Eric, Steven, Alan. I'm here with Joe Drilling.
What up?
He's over there on the internet. Uh, this is
True.
Genesis or Genesisn't, where I play a Genesis game because I hadn't played a lot of them, but now I kind of have. Um, and then I say if a Genesis or Genesisn't good because that's a clever wordplay thing.
Yeah.
I don't. What is that? That's not a pun. Is that a pun?
It's kind of a pun, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, tonight's game is Vectorman. As I understand it, I have a chance to win $25,000. All I have to do is finish it and see what the see if it says you win at the end of the credits, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So let's
If
get
I'm
the
not
show on the road.
mistaken,
Let's see.
Which I could be mistaken.
I could use that
was.
$25,000. Vectorman lands his space barge after delivering a load of sludge to the sun. Unhindered by evil mind control, he will not rest until Warhead is defeated and the Earth is again free. Wasn't Warhead a candy?
Yes, there was a very
and...
sour candy. Yeah, it's super sour. Yep.
And apparently my controller's not working again.
Oh no.
That's fun. Let's do a quick set config. Up, down, left, right, A, B, C. Start. Mode. Okay. Press start. Start game.
So,
there we go.
This is one of those games that
Is this the Genesis's Donkey Kong Country?
Yeah, it definitely is that.
Okay.
It definitely is that. But this is one of those games like Echo the Dolphin, where like I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is one of the classic Genesis."
Like Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I guess it's fine. Shrug, like I don't know. That's like, I think this game is. I mean, I don't want to color.
Look at these graphics, Joe.
I mean, you may think it Genesis or Genesisn't something, but I think it's just okay. Like, I don't think it's that good. I think it's fine. It looked very impressive at the time, as did Donkey Kong Country, which means that I think it looks kind of like ass now.
I actually think these rendered sprites are a little bit cleaner than a lot of the ones in Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I think they're
especially
like
the
Vectorman
first...
is less detailed than Donkey Kong. So
although some of the enemies are a little fucked up, but like that flag looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, some of the background elements, but like the thing is, like, I think that those clouds in the background look really good, and they're just regular old sprite art. So like, you know,
this dude looks
not sprite art. They're not sprite.
This dude looks like a real bad low res turd.
Yeah, that thing looks like a poop monster. Man, you know another game looks really bad that I should put you through someday is Balls 3D, the fighting game.
Yeah.
Sort of
I think that was on Super Nintendo as well, wasn't it?
It was on Super Nintendo.
I've played at least one version of Balls at some point in my life. Rise of the Robots as well.
Ooh, yeah. Featuring songs by Brian May of Queen.
Oh, this has wall jumping.
And a character in a pretty shitty movie that somehow won Best Picture at the Golden Globes. Is that? I mean, if you were ever curious, like how much of a sham the Golden Globes are, like a movie that was legitimately on my list of like the 3 worst movies I saw last year won Best Picture.
Which was
Bohemian Rhapsody.
No. I didn't see that.
Which is a terrible movie with a great soundtrack.
From what I heard, yeah, like the live performances were pretty neat, and then the movie itself was like not accurate to the life and times of the members of Queen.
Yeah,
which seems like a pretty big failing, given how well a lot of those stories are known and how beloved that band is. And
right, they do a lot of weird stuff. They just changed a lot of weird stuff, like well, so first of all, a lot of people are upset that they made Freddie Mercury gay instead of bisexual, which upset a lot of people who are bisexual. But even more than that, like it's the pacing is super weird, and they change stuff. Like all of a sudden they're composing "We Will Rock You" like 3 years after it already came out and was a hit, and like
I mean, you
there's
can
weird
always
stuff about, like,
artists often return to their work, Joe, to like
sure,
revamp and improve things,
But like to add tension, I guess, quote unquote, to the Live Aid performance, they're like, we haven't played together in 3 years, and it's like, no, you were literally on tour, like, well, when this happened, like, it's
all right.
just,
I got a
it's
question.
just
Do any of
weird.
these sparkly things? Do they do anything, or is it just score?
I think you get a 1-up if you get enough of
Okay.
them. Let's see
shit!
here.
I'm spinning around. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Onomatopoeification, which is still a great username, says Donkey Kong Country had better level design, in my opinion. I'm inclined to agree with that, but I don't love Donkey Kong Country either. So
I think like this game definitely seems to be of the school of like big open maze-like levels, which is not to my particular taste. I always associated that with weird European platformers, whereas Donkey Kong Country is a little bit more straightforward with just some weird hidden stuff.
What was in fact made by a European company, so figure that out. Nexus Creed says going balls deep on this one, which I think is because Vectorman is constructed of balls. Let's see here. Big Master Anonymous says that Balls was also released for the 3DO, which I did forget that. But when we start 3DO or 3 doesn't,
3 don't
show, 3 don't, 3 do or 3 don't as our next show. We'll check out Balls for the 3DO.
And then we have to find someone who's an expert on 3DO games to go down that journey with us. Yeah.
And he says, "What you drinking?" I assume he's not asking me because I'm drinking a Big Gulp from 7-Eleven.
Oh, I have this is a Sierra Nevada Narwhal Stout.
There you go.
It's a pretty good stout that has a high alcohol content and is fairly cheap as far as high alcohol content stouts go. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah. So this is not the first time that we've seen Blue Sky Software on Genesis or Genesisn't, though. The game that we all loved so very much, which I believe was the first punishment we got from the random number generator, Ariel the Little Mermaid.
Oh boy,
Blue Sky Software joint.
That was one of the very first games that we did.
Yeah,
that was a really bad game. I'll tell you what, they improved a lot from that Little Mermaid game to this. Yeah, I'm sure there was probably a totally different team of people working on it.
But
it's been a little while since I played this, but I do remember that at the very least it kind of controls well.
Yeah, it feels okay.
In kind of like a momentum-y way.
Yeah, that aspect of it I'd say feels pretty good. Ariel the Little Mermaid was episode 4 of Genesis or Genesisn't, for those keeping score at home. That was our first taste of Blue Sky Software. I think that's the only Blue Sky game we've played. Because most of the stuff they did on Genesis was sports games.
Yeah, that was like a super early Genesis game too, right? Like
1992.
Oh, 92.
92.
Damn.
We have not yet played Desert Demolition, starring the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. We didn't play Jurassic Park yet, did we?
I don't think so.
That was a Blue Sky Software joint. So that was better for sure than Ariel the Little Mermaid. But I also think that game's kind of overrated, although they also did Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, which is a terrible name because it's actually a sequel, but Jurassic Park Rampage Edition just makes it sound like it's the original game with like 1 or 2 extra levels, and that's not what it is.
Or with a giant gorilla character inserted.
Yeah, or you play as the T-Rex and tear down buildings or something. Yeah, right, exactly.
But, like, gaming nomenclature was not such a set-in-stone thing back then.
That was after Champion Edition and Turbo and etc. though. So like, I mean,
yeah, but who aside from Street Fighter had done it in like a blanket edition game?
Nobody. That's my exact point, Mike. Nobody had. So when they did that people assumed it was the same as the thing Capcom did. Is the exact point I'm trying to make. But then they also did a whole bunch of sports games: Sports Talk Football, Shadowrun, which is actually super good.
Shadowrun's a great game.
Did you just say Sports Talk Football? Sports Talk Football?
Sports Talk
yes,
Football.
Yes, Joe Montana Football 2, Sports Talk Football, NFL Sports Talk Football 93.
Okay.
Did you know that the sports talk?
They do, but just
what are
football.
they talking about?
There was no ever like MLB Sports Talk Baseball or PGA Sports Talk Golf. It was just NFL Sports.
I have some comments to make about this options screen. First of all, Vectorman is just pissing all over this shit. That's what's happening. That's Vectorman piss. Also, I really like that the difficulties are insane, wicked, or lame.
Great. That's Very
90s
2018.
man.
Right. I mean, that comes from the Doom school of difficulty settings, right?
I don't. Doom's a little bit more classy than that, I think.
Is it? What are the? I don't remember. What Hurt Me Plenty
Hurt
is
Me
one
Plenty,
of them.
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm too
Nightmare.
young
I
to
think it was
die.
actually it was Wolfenstein that was more insulting because the lowest difficulty was "Mommy, can I play?"
Yeah. See?
Sorry, the id Software school of difficulty. Is that better?
Yes.
But yeah, so somebody also mentioned in the comments as I was looking, or in the chat, that yeah, Shadowrun, which we also haven't played yet on this.
I have
show,
played
that
that
requires
before.
a lot of time. That's a good one though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a game that you, like. There's a lot of RPGs and other things that I haven't really dug into here because they just don't translate real well to a half an hour play session.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of on and off. I've been thinking of like how can we cover some of that stuff, but maybe just have you play it for like 4
I was gonna
hours
say,
before we do
yeah,
it on the show.
The answer is that I should sit down with it for like 90 minutes beforehand or something.
They also did Ren and Stimpy's Invention. So
Well, that's a favorite
which
of
I'm
yours, if I
sure
recall
we'll get
correctly.
to at some point.
Oh God.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess I just never fully like grokked this game. Like I never made it very far. I never got past like the second or third stage because I just felt like you said the levels are very open and kind of maze-like, and I would just kind of get bored wandering around and just be like, okay, like that's enough of this, I guess. Time to play more Streets of Rage. Like,
you don't want to shoot this turd monster over and over and over again?
I didn't. And I think it's funny though because like I've seen people bring this game up as like talking about like, oh man, I really love Contra Hardcore and Gunstar Heroes, and people are like, oh yeah man, and Vectorman, and I'm like, Vectorman is not even on the same level as Contra Hardcore or Gunstar Heroes. I don't know, maybe we should play Gunstar or Vectorman 2, you know, soon.
Yeah, maybe that's
because I've heard people say that like they did improve on it with
like
certainly Donkey Kong Country 2 is better than Donkey Kong Country. So
true, it's true. Donkey Kong Country 2 is actually one of the better platformers for the Super Nintendo.
I don't like any of them. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like the way they look.
Yeah, I mean
I agree
the
with
biggest
you,
problem
Mike,
with
but 2
Donkey
is the
Kong
best
Country games is also one of the problems that I have with this game. It's just that the scale is a little bit too zoomed in. You know, like the character takes up too much of the screen and you can't see a lot.
Defo.
Because and you really like with that graphical style, you can't afford to make the characters too much smaller, or everything really becomes a horrible muddy mess, especially on an old like 19-inch cathode ray tube TV or whatever. So
you kind of want the mess when it comes to Donkey Kong Country. Playing those games in like high definition on like the SNES Classic.
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Onomatopoeification says Vectorman doesn't have a werewolf soldier. Excuse me, sir. I believe you mean Vectorman doesn't have a werewolf soldier with a gun arm and sunglasses.
It's true.
Because
You're just making me so sad that game never got re-released.
I know, right? It's ridiculous.
It's a good game.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Such a good game.
What the fuck? Oh my goodness. What, like this is a prime example of where this graphical style just utterly fails. Like the dude that I'm fighting looks super cool, but everything else looks like total garbage.
Did your guy do like a Richard Nixon victory pose when he beat that helicopter?
And then that's it, huh?
All the cool kids love Richard Nixon.
That's true. Oh no, I died.
I'm more of a hipster. I love Spiro Agnew.
Like I wouldn't call this game a classic, but I can see why if you had it as a kid, it would have been good enough. Like, that's some cool
feel
stuff.
like this is one of those games that was published by Sega, so it appears on every Sega Genesis games compilation.
Yeah.
That's where I played it.
Like,
yes, it is part of the Steam collection and all that stuff.
I got it in that Sonic Ultimate Genesis collection.
Like, there's something up with the music also. It's like totally inoffensive in a way that I don't associate with Genesis games. Like Genesis games always have like either super amazing soundtracks or super trashy soundtracks because of the way. And this sounds like the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. It's like super inoffensive and just kind of there. It's not super grimy or whatever.
There are a couple really good songs. The one thing I do like about Donkey Kong Country though is the soundtrack.
No,
honestly,
yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2 specifically has a really great. There are some great songs in Donkey Kong Country, but I mean,
those are,
this sounds more like
those are,
this like the sound of it, the mouth feel, the ear feel of this sounds more like a Super Nintendo. Yeah,
yeah. Those are Wise, David Wise soundtracks, right?
Yeah. Wise and what's the other guy?
Kirkhope?
Yeah.
Grant Kirkhope. Yeah.
Did he work on Donkey Kong Country?
I don't know.
Let's find out. I know David Wise did at least some of the tracks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
This is the getting into and out of water animation is pretty cool.
Grant Kirkhope. No, his first game was his first game with Rare was Killer Instinct Gold.
Okay.
Killer Instinct 2 / Killer Instinct Gold. He did music on Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy.
Yeah, I think he worked
which
on
was
some of the more
adaptation of Wise's
like Returns
work
and Tropical Freeze. Maybe he might have been involved in those to a certain extent.
Banjo Kazooie, GoldenEye, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, Banjo 2E, Star Fox Adventures,
Did he
Viva
write the,
Pinata.
Man, Viva Pinata, holy shit.
Yeah.
The game's sick.
That game is sick.
Why do
He
we
did
get
a game
like a
called Fart Cat for iOS.
awesome?
A man truly after my heart.
Yeah. He apparently did the remake of Castle of Illusion. Was Grant Kirkhope?
Okay.
Sure.
You mean the
why not?
soundtrack for the remake?
Yes, yes. He's a musician, so that's what we're talking about.
Turned into a bomb and blew up.
Apparently he did some songs for. I don't know if if they just credit him because he did the original songs, but he's credited here with Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong Adventure.
Right.
So I just assume those are old songs that he'd previously.
There was a battle in that game against a rabid Donkey Kong. It's one of the boss battles, and the music that is for that is like a remixed thing that he worked on. It's pretty good. Did you happen to look up like who was responsible for this Vectorman stuff? If they've done anything
soundtrack?
else? Well, the soundtrack or just
Because you need answers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like
Who is
your
responsible for this?
word choice. Yeah.
Let's see here.
There's not a lot going on here. Like this level in particular, maybe this ain't a great level, but it's just like I can go into the water and it's the same mines over and over again, or I can get out of the water and shoot these same guns over and over again.
So this was produced by Jerry Marcoda and Jerry Huber.
Okay.
The
The Jerrys, yeah, the infamous Jerrys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of the level and just fell off.
Sick.
I got scored on how much stuff I collected also. Day 4, absolute 0.
I'm curious. Let's see here. Which of the Genesis sound drivers this game uses, and I think
The
Sega
boring
Retro
one.
usually. Yep, it uses gems. That's
Yep,
the boring one.
That's the one.
Well, gems is like the very basic. Like if you hear when people are like, "Oh, Genesis music sounds like farts and squonks," like that's usually gems because it's like the most basic, out of the box. Like it was made for the Genesis, but it's like there's a lot of standardized sound effects in there, and people who didn't put in a lot of effort or have a lot of money to like spend a lot of time on music use gems a lot.
Yeah. So the music is kind of boring, but the sound effects are pretty good. Like the noises gun makes, I think it's pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, how you feeling about this one?
I don't know. You should look real quick and see if there's a level select.
Oh, good get. I think there is actually.
I think this is now a classic feature of Genesis or Genesisn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, it lets me see some more of the art, which is really important to me.
Right.
Like that's kind of the thing that this game is lacking. It just like these levels are really long and everything looks the same over and over and over again. Just a lot of repetition and not a lot of interesting like platforming challenges or combat challenges.
The archived version of this is going to have a bunch of comments on it of people telling us we're idiots because we don't appreciate Vectorman. So,
Okay.
Okay.
let's see here.
that's fine.
Level warp.
Everyone's got to do something with their time, you know.
Right.
Look, if anybody watches this show and comments on it, then like,
People definitely do. I can tell you that for sure. There's a level warp. So let's see here.
all right, how do I do that? I'm ready to warp out of this level. Do
Go
I
to
have-
the final boss. Fuck them up, fam.
Yeah, yeah.
Boy. Okay, so okay, here we
Is
go.
this worse than the one from last week?
Yes, it is. Reset the game.
Okay.
And you know how you can control Vectorman on the Sega screen?
Okay. Yep.
Shoot the Sega logo 24 times,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
and then jump and headbutt the Sega logo 12 times. And then
I need
when
hang on. Wait a second here. I need to.
Yeah.
I
So
lost
far,
count.
this is not worse than last week.
Well, you haven't gotten to the last part yet, Mike.
All right. What does he have to pee
12,
on?
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then 12
Okay, now
head bumps.
headbutt it 12 times.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So a bunch of letters are going to start falling from the sky. Catch at least 90 to start on stage 5, and catch 110 to start on level 10.
Apparently,
That's amazing.
Apparently,
That's-
I missed something because I'm not getting any letters.
Shoot the Sega logo 24 times, bump it with Vectorman's head 12 times, and the letters Sega will start falling. That's what it says.
All right. Well, let me restart this and try one more time.
Even if we never see it, just hearing that made me happy.
All right. So was it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Get ready. Okay. Oh my god.
Man, I was born ready for this.
This is really good, actually. I really like this. Even if I don't actually manage to complete the challenge, I still really like... So what was it? 90 and 110?
90 will get you to stage 5, 110 will get you to stage 10.
I got to
And
120.
for stages like 6, 7, 8, 9, who the fuck knows?
Okay. No bonus.
You don't
it
get to
says.
go to those stages, asshole.
Am I supposed to get exactly 110 or?
No, more than one time.
Okay,
10,
I got-
110.
I got 120, so let's see if this works. I'm way into that cheat code. I think that's really good.
That's way better than the whole weird, like, playing with the CD player thing.
It didn't work. Unless I missed like a step
You,
after.
you only caught 78.
I said I caught 120.
No,
That's
it's a
the total.
120. You
Oh.
caught 78.
I see. All right,
Gotta
let's
get
give it.
good.
Let's give her one more try.
Yeah, get good, scrub.
Oh, I'm stupid.
Sky Reynolds says, "Good grief." That is an accurate response. Why are you stupid, Alex? You're not stupid. You gave me a great Christmas present for our Xmas
Yay.
exchange.
Oh, he's pretty unappreciative.
Yeah, well, your game
Wouldn't know a good game if it came up and bit him in the
Or if
ocean.
like a fish was like swimming like a fucking boring piece of shit. Yeah. No, because I did the wrong thing in Slay the Spire. Just when I'm idly playing while we're speaking.
Do you have the googly eyes mod turned on?
No. Hang on, let me go Google some shit real quick.
Google would be the right word, yes.
Hey, I get it.
Ugh. Apparently, I can't count.
You didn't watch enough Sesame Street.
Yeah.
I've long suspected that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
11, 12.
Kurt's
So
here.
you can
Kurt's
count.
been
You just
here
bad
for
under
like
pressure.
20 minutes and just hadn't said
Alright.
Just
anything.
not saying anything, yeah. Unlike certain Anthony Rogerses.
Ooh.
He's also not saying anything. Oh, he's not here.
He's
Yeah.
not here, but when he does show up, he just starts blathering without even realizing we're in the middle of some conversation.
Right.
I think he knows.
Get
Sounds
ready. Oh, no.
That's also
Pretty-
possible.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's more than possible. That is like what is happening.
That's not the limiting factor, is it? It's not that he doesn't know. Need to wrap up this stream so I can complain about the run that I'm having in Slay the Spire.
Do it on the stream. It's a Genesis game, right?
All right. Well, I couldn't do it, but that's a dope ass way to do level skips. And that's Vectorman. I don't know. This is like another like tentative. Like it's okay. I don't think I'd be too awful excited to play more of this. I should maybe check out the second one at some point, because like that ambivalence is how I would say most people should feel about Donkey Kong Country 1, and then Donkey Kong Country 2 does a much better job of having a more coherent aesthetic and better level design. I think that's
these guys
honestly,
made Shadowrun, right? So they can make a good game.
Yeah, like that's honestly like the thing that, just having played through those 4 levels, like the levels are just really boring. But it looks and plays okay, except for the polished turd monsters. That's not so great. But I just like a little bit more variety. You know, I like to challenge me in both platforming and or combat. Give me something to do. But that's Vectorman. It's all right. You know, I don't know if
it's weird. It's
I'll
interesting.
finish the game at some point and see if I win $25,000.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to, right?
I mean, as far as games about sludge cleaning robots go, I mean, this one's not as good as Chibi Robo, but it's not bad. Anyway, we'll be back again next week, probably with something else.
Yeah, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the next installment of our Xmas Exchange.
Right, or you can watch that first if you want. You're watching this.
Stay tuned for Hyper Light Drifter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game that's good.
Raster Master is a real good name for a final boss in a video game. Anyway, bye.
True.